So the biosynthesis of fatty acid is carried out by the de novo pathway of fatty acid is carried out by a huge molecule known as fatty acid synthase complex, which obviously is a multi-enzyme complex made up of 7 different enzyme units, but all are assembled to give a single protein, right? And the 7 enzymes are autonomous in nature, that is, they are working independently, but all are clubbed together to form monomers, right? And again, fatty acid synthase complex molecule is a dimer, that is, 2 sets of monomers are joined together in a head to tail fashion so that it forms an elliptical protein and gives rise to the formation of a fatty acid in a stepwise manner and happens in different cycles based on the type of the fatty acid which is finally synthesized, right? So this is the overall structure of the fatty acid synthase complex. So this is the structural organization, right? So this forms the monomer 1, and below this line, below this broken line is the monomer 2. But see, this monomer 1, this is a head of monomer 1 having cis SH arm. Then a cis SH, that is ketosol synthesis having a cysteine residue, and this is the head of the monomer 1, and this head is facing the tail of monomer 2. That is, the tail is 4-phosphopentane, which is attached to ACP, acyl carrier protein. So this ACP with the pan SH, the pan SH, the cis SH. Pan means phosphopentathiene. So the pan SH and the cis SH are acting as the swings, or they are in contact with each other. The two subunits, the two monomers are in contact with each other through cis SH arm of one monomer with the pan SH monomer, pan SH arm of the other monomer, right? So this pan SH is also known as central thiol group, central thiol, because it is responsible for taking each intermediates from one enzyme to the other, right? So it's acting as an arm. So this is known as the central thiol. Thiol means SH. So central thiol group, while the cis SH is known as the peripheral thiol group. So the two thiol groups or the two arms are the central thiol and the peripheral thiol. So the central thiol of one monomer will be facing the peripheral thiol of the other. Similarly, this is the central thiol of the monomer 1, which is facing the peripheral thiol of monomer 2. Right, so in between these two arms, the complexes are the products are reacting together to finally undergoing condensation. Right, and once the monomer is formed, once the product is formed, for example, for the first round, when the first round is over, that is, the 2 acetyl group are condensing together. One acetyl group is coming in the form of malonyl CoA, the active or the highly reactive species is the malonyl CoA. So malonyl CoA will be getting condensed with one molecule of acetyl CoA. So the acetyl CoA will be that is, the two subunits are acting simultaneously, right? So the two substrate molecules, that is, our substrates are a malonyl CoA and then acetyl CoA, right? So the two acetyl, out of the 2 acetyl CoA, one of the acetyl CoA is coming in the form of malonyl CoA, because it is it is not possible for 2 acetyl CoA molecules to react together. So one of the acetyl molecule will be converted into its next higher member, which is the carboxylated form, that is the malonyl CoA. So malonyl CoA condenses with acetyl CoA, right, to give rise to the 4-carbon. But even though malonyl CoA is the form of acetyl CoA to enter into the pathway, immediately after entering, it undergoes decarboxylation. So ultimate effect is that 2 molecules of acetyl CoA will be condensing together to give rise to a 4-carbon compound. Clear? So one of the acetyl CoA will be held by monomer 1, while the malonyl CoA will be held by the pan SH group. That is why it's known as a central thiol group. The malonyl CoA is always carried by the pan SH. Clear? While the other molecule, the acetyl CoA, will be carried away always by the cis SH group. And suppose one round is over, that is, two molecules of acetyl CoA condenses together to give butyl CoA, right? That's the end of the reaction. 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. So butyl CoA that is, the reaction will be happening in this particular subunit, right? Once it is formed, it will be handed over to the peripheral arm of the other monomer. When the reaction is happening, we will come to understand what I am saying now. Okay, so now you understand that this is the structural division of the two complexes. That is, this is monomer 1 and this is monomer 2. But the functional aspect is different. This is the functional aspect. That is, E1, E2, E3 of one monomer will be reacting with E4, E5, E6, E7 of the other monomer. So this is how the functional aspect, functional division of the fatty acid synthase complex. So even though this is the structural organization, the functional organization is entirely different. Clear. So since 7 enzyme units are involved in a fatty acid synthase complex, they are simply designated as E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6 and E7. So E7 is the ACP, right? So E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6. And the seventh one is the carrier protein. The carrier is having the pan-SH group, right? So this is the structural division. Right? So E1, E2, E3 of monomer 1 will be interacting with E4, 5, this is the E4, 5, 6 and 7 of the other monomer. So this is how the functional division is happening. But if total 7 units in E1, E2, E3 of monomer 1 will be interacting with E4, E5, E6, E7 of the other monomer. Clear? Adupole, E4, E5, E6, E7 of the monomer 1 is interacting with E1, E2, E3 of the second monomer. So this is how the reaction is happening. Even the structural arrangement is different. The structural arrangement is from E1 to E7 of a single monomer. The functional aspect is something different. E1, E2, E3 of one monomer will be reacting with E4, E5, E6, E7 of the other monomer. That is why they are arranged in a head-to-tail fashion. Clear? Again, now we will come to understand which are the enzymes. നമുക്ക് 7 enzymes ഉണ്ട്, right? Out of the 7, the seventh one is a carrier protein. So ACP, acyl carrier protein. It's having an arm which is swinging, and this is known as a pan-SH arm or central thiol group. Clear? Now we'll come to understand which are the other 6 enzymes. നമ്മൾ E1, E2, E3 എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാലും ഈ കിടക്കുന്ന ഓർഡർ സെയിം അല്ല. It is a shuffled form, right? So the E1 is acetyl transacylase. The E1, first enzyme of fatty acid synthase complex is acetyl transacylase, or this is the E1. Clear? E2 is malonyl transacylase. So E3 will be ketoacyl synthase. So even though this is how the proteins are arranged, this is not the correct order of enzyme activities. E1 is acetyl transacylase. E2 is malonyl transacylase. E3 is ketoacyl synthase. Now which is E4? E4 is ketoacyl reductase. Kanda ACP odu adithu kadakkunnaanu E4, ketoacyl reductase. Right? This is followed by hydratase, the E5. This is E5. And E6 is enoyl reductase. Clear? So this is the order of the enzymes. Even though they are named as E1, E2, E3, this is not the correct order. Right? E1, E2, E3 nalla paraya. This is the first enzyme to act. This is acetyl transacylase. Then comes malonyl transacylase. Then comes E3, that is ketoacyl synthase. So this is the order of the enzymes. Clear? E1, E2, E3. Or acetyl transacylase is the first enzyme to come into action. This is followed by malonyl transacylase, followed by ketoacyl synthase. So this is E1, E2, E3. And in monomer 2, this is E4, ketoacyl reductase, the enzyme which is adjacent to ACP, or E7 is E4. Idana E7, either E4. Then comes E5. Here the E5, hydratase. Clear? Then comes enoyl reductase, E6. Then comes the E7, ACP. Right? Then we are having a thioesterase. Thioesterase is thiolytic cleavage vary removing. C16 palmitic acid last round this enzyme will be coming to action. Clear? So thioesterase is the last one which is having enzyme activity or which functions only at the terminal step. Right? So this is how the enzymes are raised. This is E1, E2, E3. E3 is having the cis-SH arm or the peripheral arm. right? And this is the E4 ketoyl reductase, followed by E5 hydratase, then comes enoyl reductase, then comes the ACP, which is having the central arm or central thiol group. Now, how are they performing? Adepole thane E side, that is, this is the E1 acetyl transacylase, followed by E2 malonyl transacylase, then comes E3 ketoacyl synthase. ഇവരുടെ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റിനെ ഇവിടെ കൊണ്ടുവയ്ക്കും, SSH കൊണ്ട് ഇവിടെ എക്സ്പോസ് ചെയ്യിക്കും. So that what happens, the E4 ketoyl acyl reductase comes, followed by hydratase enzyme, then comes enoyl reductase, and finally this product is taken by the ACP and it is exposing the product, final product towards the SSH. So that ഇവർ രണ്ടുപേരും കൂടി റിയാക്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ട് സപ്പോസ് അസറ്റൈൽ കോയ ആണെങ്കിൽ 2 അസറ്റൈൽ കോയ ആണെങ്കിൽ കണ്ടൻസ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ എന്ത് കിട്ടും, നമുക്ക് ഇവിടെ വെച്ചിട്ട് കണ്ടൻസേഷൻ നടക്കും ടു ഗീവ് റൈസ് ടു ബ്യൂട്ടിറൈൽ കോയ. ക്ലിയർ? അപ്പൊ രണ്ടുപേരും കണ്ടൻസ് ചെയ്തു at the end of enoyl reductase reaction. അത് കണ്ടൻസ് ചെയ്ത് 4 കാർബൺ ആയി കഴിഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഈ the chain elongation has to happen. Then what happens? The next 2 carbon moiety വരണം, അസറ്റൈൽ കോയ വരണം. പക്ഷെ അസറ്റൈൽ കോയ വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അതിന് ഇരിക്കാൻ സ്ഥലമില്ല. അപ്പൊ എന്ത് വേണം വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഈ ബ്യൂട്രൈൽ കോയ that is formed here will be translocated to SSH. ഈ SSH-ലേക്ക് പോകും. So that this arm is now made free. Clear? Then comes the other malonyl CoA. Malonyl CoA varum and the reaction is continued. So how the reaction is taking place, that we'll take in the next class. Now we will understand how the fatty acid synthase complex are arranged. How are the enzymes arranged? 7 enzymes arranged. So there are 7 enzymes in fatty acid synthase complex. It is a dimeric molecule which is existing in an elliptoidal manner, right? They are arranged in a side-by-side fashion, but in a head-to-tail manner. The head of one monomer is facing the tail of the other monomer, and the enzymes are acetyl transacylase, which is E1, malonyl transacylase is E2, ketoacyl synthase is E3, then enoyl reductase is E4, then not enoyl reductase, I'm sorry, ketoacyl reductase is E4, hydratase enzyme is E5, enoyl reductase is E6, then acyl carrier protein is E7. This E7 carries the central thiol group, while the ketoacyl synthase or E3 carries the peripheral thiol groups. So what is the function of cis-SH and pan-SH? Pan-SH and cis-SH brings the 2 substrates together. Clear? So they അടുത്ത് കൊണ്ടുവരും, എന്നിട്ട് ഇവരുടെ റിയാക്ഷൻസ് ഒക്കെ കഴിഞ്ഞ് ഇവരെ ഇങ്ങോട്ടേക്ക് ട്രാൻസ്ഫർ ചെയ്യുക, and the 2 molecules comes together and the condensation happens, and the 2 at the end of each reaction what happens, the molecule will be getting extended or elongated by a 2 carbon unit. So when the first step is over, we'll be having a 4 carbon unit which will be butyryl CoA. So the butyryl CoA ഇവിടെ E7, അപ്പൊ അവസാനത്തെ സ്റ്റെപ്പില് പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് എവിടെ ഇരിക്കുന്നുണ്ടാവുക, ഈ ആമിലാണ് ഇരിക്കുന്നുണ്ടാവുക പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ്, റൈറ്റ്? So the product will be placed in this arm. From the central thiol or central arm, the product will be moving towards the peripheral arm, right? അടുത്തേക്ക് പോകും, ഇവിടേക്ക് കൊണ്ടുവയ്ക്കും. So that നെക്സ്റ്റ് റൗണ്ട് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഈ ബ്യൂട്രൈൽ കോയയും അടുത്ത മെലനൈൽ കോയയും കൂടി റിയാക്ട് ചെയ്യാം. സോ ആ മെലനൈൽ കോയ will be coming from the monomer 2. That how is it happening, that we will discuss in the next class. Now this is the structure of fatty acid synthase complex. You have to study thoroughly the structure. That is, the fatty acid synthase complex is a multi-enzyme complex. It's having 2 subunits, or it is made up of 2 monomers which are arranged in a side-by-side manner but in a head-to-tail fashion. Each monomers are made up of 7 enzyme units starting from E1 to E7. Then it is having a central thiol group and a peripheral thiol group. The peripheral thiol group is moving like a swing, right? The pan-SH is moving like a swing which takes the intermediates from one enzyme to the other and the reaction will be taking place, right? Finally a C16 palmitic acid will be formed at the end of the reaction, right? So this is how the reaction is, this is how the enzymes, individual enzymes are functioning, right? So the de novo pathway, it involves 3 stages. First is the translocation of acetyl CoA from the mitochondria to cytosol, followed by the carboxylation reaction of acetyl CoA to give rise to malonyl CoA carried out by acetyl CoA carboxylase, then fatty acid synthase.